Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Today, once again, we delve unexpectedly into the world of shattered glass with this guy. It is the new Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. He's going to be our focus, and kind of all of his lore, as well as Delta Magnus, as well as Magna Convoy. All that and more in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube at any time and become a channel member. And this is the new Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. I did not expect to get this. Huge shout out to our buddy Razor Bear for sending this my way. I also hadn't looked at the Earthrise version of the Ultra Magnus mold. I'd looked at the Siege, but not the Earthrise one with its changes. Herein, we're of course going to look at him as Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, and we're going to compare him really to I think it was Reveal the Shield, Hunt for the Decepticons maybe, G2 Optimus Prime, because that was a mold that was previously used for Ultra Magnus. We're also going to compare him to my Combiner Wars version with the upgrade kits, just so we can sort of see them side by side. We're going to talk about not only the lore of Ultra Magnus, but you have the option of using this alternate head and having this guy be Delta Magnus, just a regular universe Delta Magnus. And who is Delta Magnus? You know, what is the House of Magnus? What is the, primal, I can't remember what it's called now. Vanguard, I think. And then inside the blue guy is Magna Convoy. But who and what is a Magna Convoy? A lot of interesting lore here, not the least of which is the Terminus Blade, maybe? There's a lot to unpack. We're going to head over to the table and we're going to take a closer look at this guy. Oh, and I'm excited for this one. I'm very excited for this one because this is definitely going to be a review that is going to be more than meets the eye. We're going to definitely be delving into some of the Shattered Glass kind of lore as well. We're going to do some pretty, I think, interesting comparisons as we get going here. Of course, this is Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus. A huge shout out to Razor Bear, our buddy Razor Bear, for hooking me up with this. I had no idea that this was coming, and I'm very happy. I've never ever looked at the Earthrise, or Kingdom, I guess it is, the Kingdom Ultra Magnus, the Earth Mode Ultra Magnus, if you will. The closest I looked at was the Siege, and while it wasn't the Magnus for me, I do absolutely respect it. I looked at that Ultra Magnus a long time ago, back in episode 497, man. 497, a long time ago. So, we're going to take this Magnus out of it. By the way, he may also be known as Delta Magnus, but we're going to take this Magnus out of it, and we're going to look at the packaging first. And the packaging is our typical Shattered Glass packaging. I feel like the cardboard is even thinner here than it was. The box came pretty jacked up. Now I do like all of the angular stuff of the box, but the the cardboard is so thin that it is having an effect. Of course, over here you can see Magnus. I assume that this Energon sword is really more of the dreaded Terminus blade that we will talk about in just a little bit for those who don't know. On the back we see the product images with the Delta Magnus head, which is interesting. We'll talk about that as well. The alt mode, one of the most intriguing Shattered Glass characters of them all. I would venture to say that this is the closest conniving counterpart that I can think of in Shattered Glass for maybe Starscream in the universe that we all know and love, where Starscream is a traitorous and conniving individual. Well, so is this guy, kinda, sorta. He comes with a pretty gigantic two-sided set of instructions, and they don't seem to have a base mode. I feel like the Siege one had like kind of a base mode, or maybe it was a fan mode or something. There's so much parts forming here that I'm sure you could do one if you wanted to get creative enough. He comes with this nice big red blaster. I mean, not a lick of paint, but you know, it's all right. He also comes with 2 appropriate shoulder missiles. I'm pretty sure these are cast in black and the red is paint. Oh, we have this, like, recolor, if you will, of the Kingdom Ultra Magnus head. This is the Delta Magnus head. In the comic, that also comes packed in. I don't have that here, so I won't be showing it right now, but we will eventually look at that. But basically, Delta Magnus was part of the Primal Vanguard, and, like, he uses the word glorious a lot. He was in the comics a fair bit. It is, I think, maybe a Diaclone color version, but the character in Transformers is part of the House of Magnus, just like Ultra Magnus, so I guess they're relatives. In the Shatterglass comic, this is a faux face that is like a holographic projection over his true skeletal, I guess, face, and we'll talk about why he has that skeletal face. So this alternate head, while it serves as Delta Magnus, it is explained in the Shatterglass comic, the recent Shatterglass comic, why this face is there. It could also be interpreted as his face pre-becoming skeletal, because there's a reason that it's skeletal, right? So yeah, Delta Magnus or an earlier Shatterglass Magnus head. It's up to you how you want to use this. And while this is the sword that came with the G2 Laser Prime, by the way, a lot of people argue and say that Shatterglass Ultra Magnus should have used the Legacy Laser Prime mold. I mean, there's an argument for that. But I digress. He comes with a matrix that still goes on down by the handle, and the rest of this is put together nicely. More than an Energon sword, I believe that this is supposed to be an iteration of the dreaded Terminus Blade. And the Terminus Blade can, like, move worlds. It can be very destructive. I'm pretty sure it can control Omega Terminus, which is basically the Shatterglass version of Vector Sigma. So wielding this is extremely powerful. If you want to have kind of a simple comparison, the Terminus Blade is to Shatterglass much like the Star Saber that Prima wielded is to the regular universe. In fact, if we go back to the 2012 Timelines BotCon set and the kind of fiction that was established there, in the end of an attempted coup, Ultra Magnus had the Terminus Blade taken from him by Nexus Prime. Nexus Prime also obtained what was left of the Star Saber and the Creation Matrix and kind of kept it all, and banished our boy Shatterglass Ultra Magnus to like another dimension as his prison. Before that, he had been banished to Paradron as a prison. Get why I say he's kind of like Starscream now? And finally we get to our boy. I've already kind of established a fair amount of the lore. So, in essence, the kind of backstory for this guy, if you don't know it, because I kind of gave more of the backstory for Delta Magnus, right? Delta Magnus was very honorable and part of the Primal Vanguard, and like, you know, he protected like a lot of the history of Cybertron and stuff, and part of the noble house of Magnus, and blah, blah, blah. Shatterglass Ultra Magnus has been in the war for so long. He has extinguished so many sparks that it's boring. It's boring. He's to the point where he has killed so much that it's boring to him. Like, that's where he's to. And he kind of wants a bigger challenge and something else to do, so he's like, how about destroying a universe? That sounds like a good time. And he tries to attempt a coup against Optimus Prime. Really, though, he doesn't have much backing. The only backing he really ends up with is this guy, Shatterglass Blur, as well as Hound. And Hound really is more of just like a communication conduit to this guy. And I know what you're thinking. That's Alpha Trion. Actually, there's a reason that I have this here. Because the Titan's Return Alpha Trion with Sovereign has now been established as Shattered Glass Alpha Trion. So if you have been thinking, hey, will I get the Hero is Born box set. I mean, I already have an Alpha Trion, so do I want to replace it? Have both. This is Shattered Glass Alpha Trion, and the one coming out in that set is the Alpha Trion that we all know and love. So you probably had a Shattered Glass Prime, if you will, a Shattered Glass member of the original 13, and you didn't even know it. So I'm going to take it. By the way, you can notice the comparison here of Voyager, Leader, and they're about the same height, but they are not the same mass at all. This is a great Voyager. Our big boy here with all of his bits and pieces clocks in at a whopping 368 grams of plastic. That's a lot more than the traditional 325 of Leader class offerings like Overlord, the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. So there's a lot of heft here. Is he pricey? Yeah, but man, there's an awful lot there. Speaking of the original Ultra Magnus, the reason I didn't get the Earthrise and the reason I didn't get the Siege is because my Ultra Magnus is this guy. I'm actually going to just adjust here slightly so we got both of them in frame. There we go, that's a little better. So this, of course, is the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. He has been upgraded with the Perfect Effect chest and cab section. Actually, it's a KO of the Perfect Effect chest and upgrade section. Chest and cab upgrade section. He also has the X2 Toys XT009 kit on his lower legs. That's why he has different hands and this gigantic blaster and different feet and different shins. To me, this is a perfect Ultra Magnus. I have no need for another one in my life. Not everybody has this, of course, but it is tremendous. Now, that being said, I think I like the Earthrise one a bit more than the Siege. I love the Siege. I scored it well. I think it's great. But I think I like the chest and stuff of this one a bit more. By the way, for everything that I've sort of shown thus far, I'll try and put some cards up. You've probably seen some of them by now. Maybe some videos at the end, something like that, right? So you can check out some of the other reviews and characters and stuff that we have talked about here. Going back to the fiction for this guy for a second, he has two heads, and a lot of people think this is just the Delta Magnus head. It is actually a hollow projection to cover up this monstrosity of a head. And the reason that this head is like this is because after the attempted uprising against Optimus Prime, Optimus basically did this to him and banished him to Paradron. I think it might have even been a prison on Paradron. So he was there for a long time. He eventually got released, and he obtained the Terminus Blade then, this thing, and he upgraded his body so that when he upgraded his body, it would look like the upgraded Optimus Prime body. At the time, G2 Optimus Prime was kind of the hot thing, and it was you know, the body that had come out. This had only come out a year earlier, so it was this mold that was reused to kind of give Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus the same body as Optimus, right? So now I can compete with him. We're one and the same. My older brother, I think it's older brother, I think Magnus is the younger one, he's gonna get it. And he figured if I have the Terminus Blade, if I have the powerful body, I can not only defeat Optimus, but now I can move between dimensions, I can move between universes, I can conquer it all. He had really high aspirations. I mean, you gotta respect Magnus for what he was trying to attempt to do, right? Naturally, this is much smaller. Unfortunately, the G2 Optimus was on loan when I reviewed him, and I don't have it anymore, but he would definitely be about this size, the original. And I don't have the Legacy one because that was also on loan. That would be a bit smaller than this, so this isn't the right body for Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, but I'm not hateful of it. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to take that guy out of it as well. The look of this guy, again, because it's not the right body, I'm going to have to kind of mark it down a bit. It's a great looking Delta Magnus. Everything looks good here for what I would envision a Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus to be, but since it's a completely different body, it is what it is. Other than the head, this isn't really recognizable as Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus if you know the character, the original character, so in that case, it's like a 1. Subjectively speaking though, I'm gonna give this like a 10. I love it. I love the look of it. I even respect that they tried to kind of use the red and stuff in the right sort of locations. Like, let's talk about the colors going from the bottom up, considering that the bodies are very, very, very different. So kind of starting and working up, the feet should be black and the shin should be blue. So we have it reversed here with blue feet and black shins. The red on the shins, that's pretty much right. An outline of silver would have been nice. The thighs should be black, but I'm okay with the dark gray, but I don't know why they didn't do black. The pelvis should be blue, it's black. The chest should mostly be blue, as it is. The windows were clear on the Optimus reuse. I like the red windows here though. The silverish, gunmetal-y color here, that's kind of right for the ribs. When we get to the actual arms, the forearms are blue, the shoulders are red, just like they are here. The upper pylons of the tire section, right? Like when I say the upper pylons of the tire section, I mean these upper pylons here are black, just like these upper pylons are black. The bicep here should not be gray, it should be blue. But I had the same complaint with the Ultra Magnuses too. Why weren't the biceps blue, right? So, you know, it is what it is, but I love it so much that I'm gonna have to give it a 10, but objectively speaking, yeah, there's things wrong. So I'd have to mark it down and say this isn't even the right body type. So this is a hard one to score, right? What about the articulation? Well, for the articulation, we have a head that goes left, right, up, down. Of course, you can pop this off the ball peg and put the other head on. The arms go all the way around. They go out to the side. We have an elbow to 90 degrees, wrist swivel, bicep rotation. Take the other head out of it. There is a waist, but it does get a little hindered here on this, so I find if I want the used waist, I sort of need to manipulate that a bit, but it's there. The legs go all the way out to the side. They can go all the way forward on a ratchet. Well, yeah, almost all the way forward. They can't go back at all. That's a bummer. Thigh swivel. And we do have a knee a little under, just shy of 90 degrees, but like it's not really a usable knee because if you do it, like the entire thigh is the length of the shin, right? And if you wanted him to like sit down somewhere, like really what he's sitting on is not so much his butt, but it's like his backpack, right? And we do have the deep ankle tilt in. It slays me, man, that the feet can't go straight. He's always got to be in an A stance. That just slays me, man. Nevertheless, we do have some really kind of cool things going on here with the articulation. And it's all there with a respectable range for the most part. Take that out of the way. Ho hum. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. You know, it's mostly there. The legs could have been done better. I'm gonna say 8.5. Yeah, so not a bad start, really. Let me clarify, because I know I've said a lot of things there. For the coloration, objectively, it's a fail. Like, objectively, it's not very good. It's not even the right body type. So, I mean, objectively, I gotta give it a 1. Subjectively, in my heart, I'm giving it like a 9.5, 10. I think I'm giving it a 10. I love it. The articulation's pretty good. I'm overall gonna say it's about an 8.5. We have to do the transformation, but before we kind of do all of the transformation, here's the beauty and the brilliance here. When we get this down, we do have the inner robot, and the inner robot is actually a version of Magna Convoy. So we kind of get something extra and special here as well. And of course, as we've done with these molds many times, we remove, man, they like to stick in there, don't they? We remove the shoulder pieces. We remove the, is it the chest that comes off next? Yeah, the chest will come up, and we can like pick it off of the back there, so that comes off. These open up, And we also pick that off, and this opens up for us to pick that off. The legs open out down here and slide off, and the leg opens out down here and it slides off. We can come down and open out a couple of heel spurs. We're going to bring this down and undo the arms here and bring this forward, bring out the head. By the way, doing that infinitely easier on this mold than it was on the Siege. Turn this around and bring it up for the Magna Convoy waist. Bring the shoulders back in, and boom, here we have Magna Convoy. Now I'm going to, because this has gotten smaller, I'm going to zoom in sort of closer. Oh, not quite actually. This can also come up on his back now. And we push the body back in. There we go. I'm going to go in closer because we are now smaller and he's back quite a bit. And like I said, we have Magna Convoy essentially. And a lot of people are like, what's a Magna Convoy? So, okay, so he's actually a member of the, like, what is it it's called? Warriors of the Seven Light, which is really the Primus Vanguard, or Primal Vanguard. And if you know the Japanese Legends comics that have come out in the last while, there was like, you know, the blue matrix and the white matrix and the green and the red and blah, 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 right? I think this guy was part of the, like, blue matrix, if I'm not mistaken. Originally, he was just a drone. He didn't have any sentience, but he was kind of fused with the, how can I put this? Like the life force of Blue Big Convoy, if that makes sense, as the, like, Blue Order. So, like, it's so strange. He basically has the essence of the existence of the leader of the Blue Order, which is Big Convoy, but Big Convoy in all blue. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, this is when the storytelling is really strange. And he's basically a member of the precursor world, which is like the world before all the other worlds. So it's really strange. His life is in, well, comics. What is interesting to note, though, is that if you can find stats for Magna Convoy, he's a 10 across the board. He is exceedingly powerful. By the way, for anyone who's really picky, yes, I'm aware that Delta Magnus in the Diaclone universe was known as Powered Convoy, and he became Delta Magnus. Like, there's a lot of lore. That's why I said this one was going to be more than meets the eye, for sure. But it's not, this is not an Optimus Prime. If anything, this is a version of Big Convoy. The, like, Beast Wars guy that turned into, what, a woolly mammoth or whatever? Except all blue. It's weird. I know. I agree with you. It's very strange. So the head can go left, right, up and down. The arms can go all the way around, out to the side. Elbow swivel, bicep, still wrist rotation. The waist is now free flowing, which is nice. The legs can go forward on ratchets. Still not really able to go back. Not anything discernible. Thigh swivel. The knee is still there. Do we still have an ankle tilt? Yeah, we still have an ankle tilt. We have a heel spur. I don't mind this. I don't hate this at all. I like it. And in terms of being a version of, like, Magna Convoy, like, to my understanding, the only other iteration of Magna Convoy that we've ever had is a reuse, a blue reuse of the Classics Optimus Prime mold, and I don't know when that came out. Not a clue. But yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is, right? Let's go to truck mode. This guy's beautiful. It's a great looking Magna Convoy. I'm giving it a 10 for the look. It is full of articulation, just like the other one was. Maybe the range of motion here is a bit better because at least now he has like a full 90-degree knee, right? So if the full body mode is like an 8.5, then I think this guy here is a solid 9. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's do the transformation now to the truck mode. And I'm actually going to talk about something because a lot of people complain about the hands showing in the truck mode. We're going to deal with that too. So let's begin by pushing the body forward. Is that what I want to do? I believe. Push the body forward. Lower that down. Turn the truck around. And push it out. Oh, no, I can't do that yet because I don't have his head put in. Heavens to Betsy. Let's open these up. Pull this forward. Put the head back in. Put this back up and clip those back in. Now I can turn this around and it's brought forward, right? We can put the heel spurs in and straighten up the legs and essentially put those together, right? And then we take these and position it like that. And really what you're doing is you're bringing it around here to the back. There's a rectangular peg and a rectangular slot, so you're going to bring this around and presumably you're going to tab it all in. Same over here. You're going to bring it around and tab that in. Over on this side, you're going to... Why is that not doing the thing? Maybe I don't have it down all the way? Yeah, I didn't have it down all the way. And this is really the cab of the truck. Cool, fine, not a problem. But I also understand, maybe that gotta go forward just a touch more. There. A lot of people don't like these hands, so we can deal with that. It's not an official transformation at all, but it is an option. And it's using the forearm pieces. Officially, the forearm pieces have an alternate place that they're supposed to go tabbed on. But what I'm going to do is open this out and I'm going to put them on here. Now, when they, I'm going to lay him down. When they actually go tabbed on the way they're supposed to go tabbed on, they kind of look to be in this orientation with the, I guess, the slants going up to like a nice little peak roof. This time, the way you're going to put them on the arms, they'll be this way, right? The kind of alternate way around. So I'm going to open one up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slot the peg. Instead of slotting it on his arm, I'm going to slot it in his hand. Or I should be able to slot it in his hand. And then I'm going to close it up. It does not close up perfect, as you can see, but it doesn't need to, because where it's not closed up perfect, there, it's going to be hidden anyway, right? So you don't see a hand. I don't know if you think that's better, but you don't see a hand. We're going to do the same on the other side as well, so it looks like this, right? I don't know if this is better, but at least you're not seeing hands. It would be nice if something was just done proper with the arms to begin with. Nevertheless, once we put the cab on, or the trailer on, this will seem better. He rolls just fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Speaking of the trailer, before we get to that, I do want to kind of point out one other piece of transformation that we can do here right now. So one of the things that we removed were the shoulders. And when we remove the shoulders, in essence what we end up doing is taking this little tab and this little notch and putting these two shoulder pieces together, if they will do it. Why is that not doing it now? There. And then these two sections here in the center will slot in over where the legs attach down here. So I'm going to do that now. When you do it, make sure you do it the right way, because we have rectangular tabs here, and the first time I did it this way, and the rectangular tabs were on the bottom. But what we need really is the hollow parts up top and the rectangular tabs up top. So once we have that, we should be able to come here and just slot it in over. And in essence, until we put the trailer on, this is the cab mode. By the way, before we get into the trailer, here's a close-up of the more skeletal head of Ultra Magnus. This is the one I'm leaving on because this is the Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus visage that I know, for better or for worse. Okay, so we're going to straighten this out and bring this piece out and flip this out. This will end up going on like this in the end. That's the way that this is going to go attached. It is also what we put the majority of our accessories on. So I'm going to kind of find out exactly how they go on, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not sure how they all go on. But we will certainly make sure that we know by the time we get back to this. The real trick is the legs here. We unfurl the legs and we open that out, we open that out, we open that out. We're going to do the same on the other side, and then we're going to flip it all back kind of on itself like that. So we're going to do the same thing with the other one. I'm just doing it here off camera, putting it back. And then in essence, these two are going to go together. And there's a little rectangular slot in right there. That little rectangular slot is what this peg is going to go into in order for this to become the top of the trailer section. Okay, so now with this all opened out, I'm going to attempt to do this on camera, but no guarantees that it's going to work. Because this is not the easiest thing I find to do. And there's a lot of pegs and stuff that you gotta get. Yeah, see, there's a lot of pegs and stuff that you gotta get lined. I can't do this on camera. I'm just gonna do it because there's a lot of pegs that gotta go lined up here. And this is just far too far away from my eyes for me to be able to do it on camera. So we're gonna go from all of these parts like this to everything together like this. I'm gonna explain what I did. I basically had to hold the centerpiece and sandwich these two in here. Some people have told me that on their copies, if you put it in on one side, then you can just put the other side on, no problem. That did not work with mine at all. The tolerances in these two ports, it's not tight, not on my copy at all. What really holds this together is the two blue tabs up right here. They are very tight. Back here, it's solid. Like, it's solid here now, but it's not because of these tabs back here. It's these blue ones up here, at least for me. Maybe your copy will differ. The two red, I don't know what we call it, hand pieces, I suppose, forearm pieces. By rights, they should go over these two pegs here, just behind the head. But that's not what I did because of how I wanted this to go. So what will happen now is this whole piece is going to come in, and really what's happening is we're sandwiching up these sides. I'm going to leave this one kind of back here. And when we sandwich it up, we have a rectangular slot down here. That's what goes over the red rectangular pegs on these pieces. And then we have another little, I don't know what you even call this. It's a notch and then two holes. And that is what goes over these pieces on the legs. It's very, very tight. It's also a bit of a nuisance and a burden to do it. Again, I'm not going to try and line all that up this distance from where I am, so I'm going to tell you now though that if you put it in on one side, you should be able to sandwich up over the other side so that it looks like this. So I've got it in on this side, and I should now be able to open this out and fold this up around, and now fold this in and solidify it on this side as well. Once I have that done, I should be able to now fold this piece down. And the only thing left to do really is to put the blasters and the sword and stuff on. So I'm going to do that so he goes from looking like this to our guy looking like this. Now, these missile pods could be back here. I think they're supposed to be back there. This is up on top fine. Now, the thing that's confusing is the sword, because of course it's not supposed to come with this mold, so what do you do with it? The instructions get you to put it this way, and then I think turn it around. I presume the intention is to feed it down through this hole back here in this piece that I said doesn't tolerance in well, but guess what? That hole is far too small for this to go down. Far too small. If you do that, I think you're going to stress it, if not crack it. So, I don't know. I mean, just put it in one of the slots, I guess. Anywhere where there's a space to put it, put it. The only thing that I didn't see an official place to store is the other head, but I mean, you can fit that wherever you like. Normally now, you would see the hands here. Because of what I did, it looks like part of the trailer, I think anyway. But that's admittedly a little bit of a stylized transformation, right? Some people call it a fix. I don't call it a fix. I just call it a, hey, I don't like what the designers did, so I'm doing an alternate transformation. It's not really a fix. But I do like the blue cab with the blue going down the side. The big bummer here, compared to the Combiner Wars for me, is that if you turn this, the whole thing got turned like a bus rather than like a truck. Do I think this looks more like a car carrier than the Siege did? Yes. Do I think it looks like the Ultra Magnus car carrier? No. But I don't hate it here because you know what? Shatterglass Ultra Magnus had a completely different body. He wasn't the traditional car carrier from the G1 cartoon anyway. So this is as good as the rest. I said that for me, the look was a 10. I said that for me, the articulation is about an 8.5. The transformation's okay. I know I had a couple of cuts there, but the transformation is okay. I think it's better here than it was on the Siege, to be quite honest with you. A lot of people don't like this mold. I prefer it. I think the transformation is, by rights, smoother. And I say by rights because I wasn't able to show putting the trailer together because I have a tolerance issue back here. Minor tolerance issue, because now it's solid, right? It is solid once it's together. I'm going to say the transformation is a 9, honestly. If you don't like parts forming, because again, that's a subjective 9, right? If you don't like parts forming and think that Transformers shouldn't parts form, then you're going to hate this and you're going to score 1 or 2. Here's the takeaway at the end. We have 2 scores for this guy. My subjective one puts him at about an 8.5 and 9. I think it's a great Shatterglass Ultra Magnus, even if stylized. Objectively speaking, if you are a big Shatterglass fan, you know this isn't the body. If you don't like parts forming, this won't be for you. I feel like there's not going to be a middle ground here. Either you're going to hate this and it's like a 3 or a 4 to you and an abstract failure, or you're going to love this and it's going to be an 8 or a 9. I think to love it, you have to be okay with stylization, and you really have to love Shatterglass. I know I do. I'm opting to say that this is a success for me personally, but with the caveat that that is just my personal opinion and nothing else. And here we are once again, and here he is. So, okay, I don't necessarily think that this was the best mold to use for Ultra Magnus, for Shatterglass Ultra Magnus. It would have been more appropriate to use the Legacy Optimus Prime. No doubt about it, based on the original Ultra Magnus as he was presented in Shatterglass. That being said, I can also draw certain comparisons of that mold to this mold, and I'm okay with this. I mean, the chest still has the windows as it should. They're still mostly blue here. The shoulder pieces that should be there, well, they're still represented with these more traditional Magnus shoulder pieces, so a lot of the nods are still here. While this is an Energon blade, I'm pretty sure, though it's never said, I feel like I'm pretty sure that this is supposed to represent the Terminus blade, and I don't hate that. I'm okay with having a version of the Terminus blade, to be honest with you. This doesn't really store anywhere. That's unfortunate. It's not meant for this mold. Ironically, it's meant for the Legacy G2 Optimus Prime mold, or Laser Prime, if you will, which again, arguably should have been this. In terms of being Delta Magnus, this is the right colors. I mean, it's those Diaclone colors, and this is a perfect head forward for him to be part of the House of Magnus. I'm okay with him not being the exact same mold as my Combiner Wars 1, and while my Combiner Wars 1 is bigger, and I didn't say this in the review, it is less mass. This, though smaller, is more dense with more mass. I don't like in vehicle mode having the hands behind the cab, so leaving these on is a nice little fix, if you will, or alternate transformation, I like to think of it as. All of the articulation is pretty much here. The only real weakness is that the feet can't go straight. That's a bit of a bummer. And I do wish the thigh was longer, but I mean, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm okay with this. I'm certainly okay with the look of it, and I'm okay with the functionality of it. I think it works a bit smoother than the Siege one, or at least this copy does. And I do adore this Shatterglass Ultra Magnus head. I think it's fantastic. I like the lore, I like the look, I like the size, I like the heft. I'm happy with this guy more than I thought he would be. But to say that he is true to what the original Shatterglass Ultra Magnus should look like is just outright not true. It's a stylization, but it's a stylization that I'm okay with. Plus, if you want kind of my hot take on this mold as just regular Ultra Magnus, I think I prefer the Earthrise, or Kingdom, maybe it was? Kingdom, I guess? I think I prefer the Earth mode over the Siege just a little bit, but to be fair, Neither one of them are bad. They're both pretty great. Let me know what you think about the Kingdom Ultra Magnus or the Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus for that matter. You know, I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member at any time, baby. Hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us, and don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, yeah, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, whether you know it or not. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, right here inside the videos.